Hey guys, Mike here. So I figure every other channel is putting out stock market crash videos, crypto crash videos, yesterday, today, and you'll see a bunch of them come out tonight, of course. So I want to do something a little different, put out a video that could absolutely bring us all together, and that is our dislike of politicians. An article came out yesterday, and it gave me the perfect opportunity to do this because, you know, as the title says, why our government here in the U.S., I'm not sure about the rest of the countries, cannot tell you the truth about the stock market. And I hear a lot of you asking, and people I know in my private life say, well, I don't understand how come people on Wall Street can get away with basically what's, amount to crime, and maybe they get a little fine or something here or there, but why are they allowed to short stocks into oblivion, put out short reports, all this crazy stuff that they do. And so I'm going to show you exactly why in this article and the data I'm going to provide for you with the statistics and everything, and show you basically why they can never tell us the truth about Wall Street and why they will never ever regulate it, and also why they will hold up cryptocurrency as long as they can from being adopted like a spot ETF for Bitcoin or Ethereum or something like that other countries are actually in the midst of doing, okay? And so if you get anything out of it, hit the like, subscribe button for me, guys. I really appreciate that. And let's go ahead and just get into it. And so this article comes out yesterday saying at least 182 high-ranking congressional staffers have violated a federal conflict of interest law with overdue disclosures of their personal stock trades. This was yesterday. And of course, right behind that on the same day, it says investigation finds at least 48 members of Congress had violated the Stock Act. And so we're looking at this, it's 48 members of Congress and 182 top Capitol Hill staffers have violated a law meant to increase transparency and prevent conflicts of interest. According to the Insider Report, members of both parties have violated the Stock Act, with violations between Democrats and Republicans about even. Most violations from the Capitol staffers and Congress members are due to late reporting, with some disclosures coming as late as 4 years. That's right, 4 years, okay? And looking at some of the examples I promised you, you got Representative Pat Fallon here from Texas, made dozens of stock trades that disclosed months later, worth around $17.5 million total. And then you got Representative Tom, how you pronounce his last name, from New Jersey, didn't disclose dozens of trades that he made this year and last year until he was prodded by reporters. Then you got Senator Tommy Tuberville. He is very active, but he didn't disclose nearly 130 stock trades in the first half of this year. 130. I mean, think about how many trades you have made this year. This guy's supposed to have a full-time job as a senator, and he already did 130 trades from January to June. And then you got another representative right here from Tennessee, failed to properly report over 700 stock trades that she and her husband made this year, worth as much as $10.9 million. And then if it couldn't get any worse, you got several of nearly the 200 Capitol Hill staffers who violated the Stock Act, gave questionable excuses for not obeying the law, despite being required to attend ethics training that covered trading rules. Some staffers said they weren't aware of the law or what they weren't sure how to disclose the trades. And I'm curious to get your opinion in the comments here, how this is not a conflict of interest. At least 15 members who serve on the Armed Services Committees have had money vested in top defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon. Companies in the oil and gas and defense industries and famously receive hundreds of billions of dollars in government subsidies through the direct bailouts and tax loopholes each year. And my favorite of the group here is 75 lawmakers held shares in 3 major vaccine makers, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Moderna, as coronavirus vaccines were being developed last year. Officials were privy to information regarding the pandemic that was not available to the public. And no matter what you think about Senator Elizabeth Warren, I will say one thing she's done that I do like that'll never pass. She has presented legislation multiple times to ban stock trading for members of Congress, cabinet members, top staffers, federal judges, and White House officials. And shockingly, it's never made it to the floor for a vote. I just can't believe they would not vote to restrict how they can trade and what kind of stocks they can't hold. Imagine that, And so understand, you saw I want you to really take a look at the amount of trades, 160. I mean, think about yourself, especially if you work a job, right? How many trades have you made from January to June? How many trades have you made all year? These guys are supposed to be full-time, running the country, and there's one guy in here who's made like 300. And I'm like, wow, that's just a lot to be working a full-time gig, so I guess they have a lot of free time. They are on the phone a lot. maybe do a lot of pre-market, maybe a lot of aftermarket orders. I'm being totally sarcastic. We know they don't, but the thing is, look at the information they have, right? That's the thing about, you go, what's the big deal? The big deal is simple. One, remember, 86% or more of individual stocks are owned by the rich. And trust me, I'm getting to that. I'll show you a statistic out of Congress on that as well, and you'll understand even more. But, that's a huge thing. In crypto, I think it's even more. And so that's a problem. But now you have the staffers who work for these people. And imagine going into an office, right? And because they help write these bills and everything else, or help figure out how they're going to vote. They know the votes before they're ever even gone to the floor for the vote. They know weeks ahead what's coming out on the floor for the bills, what's going to be voted on, if the vote even counts, all this stuff way ahead of time. So imagine, say, for example, you go into an office, you're working for a congressman, they say, yep, we got the votes to pass this pipeline going from Florida all the way to California, X companies, blah, 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 blah. And I'll say some of those are publicly traded companies. Well, you know that weeks in advance. So what can you do? Buy the stock, right? Because what drives up stock really fast? Good news, okay? Or better yet, pandemic coming out. They knew way ahead of time what was happening. They knew how, even roughly how bad it was going to be. So what can they do? Get out of the stocks. More importantly, instead of just losing everything, just get out. That's what some of the politicians did. You don't think the staffers followed right along with them? Okay? And so it just puts them in a situation where, they have information we don't have, right? And so also they have privy information not only from them, what they're doing in Congress. Remember, they're rubbing shoulders with Goldman Sachs. I'm going to show you that as well. All the big firms as well, okay? And because they want them to do their bidding on top of it, which we're going to get into right here. And that's why when you see something that came out Friday and people made a big deal about it, don't expect much from this right here, guys. And this came out Friday. DOJ opens criminal probe into short selling research firms, hedge funds, and all that good stuff. And the reason why I'm telling you not to get your hopes up on this and expect anything besides a small fine or something. And the reason is, guys, because these guys own Congress. I mean, look, these are the hedge funds from 2019 and 2020 that contributed the most, okay? Look at Citadel, the biggest market maker out there, $67 million in that 2-year span. Look down the list. Elliott Management, Soros Fund Management. He ain't rich, is he? $11 million by himself in that group. Tiger Management, Theo Capital, Bridgewater Associates. And then if you go into the Securities and Investments group, now you're talking about Theo Capital, $20 million. Soros Fund Management again. Blackstone Group, Charles Schwab, Bain Capital. There's Citadel again. Goldman Sachs. And that's only the money we know about. I mean, here's the dark money, and all you can do is estimate this. This is stuff we just can't prove, but all you got to do is look at all the expenditures throughout these campaigns and stuff. You're talking about over $1 billion of dark money actually goes towards campaigns, politicians, and all that stuff. And these are some of the expenditures for them to kind of come up with this. You got $660 million in contributions to political groups, $170 million in TV advertising, $88 million in FEC reported spending, $132 million in digital and ad spending.
We're really counting on your support. The guys at Goldman Sachs are prepared to donate $500,000 to your super PAC. Provided, of course, you pick up the phone anytime we call. That's not going to be a problem. If you give us $1 million, hell, I'll let you sleep with my wife. Goes without saying, this lunch never happened.
And that is why you see a lot of hearings and a lot of blubber up there and speak and talk and everything else. But you never see anybody on Wall Street going out in handcuffs. You never see any big fines. And they'll say, oh, look, we fined them $2 million. But for actually what they're accused of, they end up making $50 million, So that's why they just laugh at it. They know what's going on. And this leads to something that leads us to something more important. Have you ever sat there and said, with these laws they're passing and everything they're pushing through or not pushing through, I don't feel really represented if you're middle class or, lower income, whatever person, then, the reason why is actually pretty simple here. And it's because millionaires in America only make up 5% of the population, while they make up 51% of Congress people. And one reason for that is they stay there for years. As you can see right here, 67% of Congress are 55 and older, even though people who are 55 years old in America only make up 28% of the population. And I promise you I'll show you how busy these guys are, and you can pull this up right here. These are politicians, right? I mean, you can see they're trading. This is when they reported it. They're trading currently now. But you can just see some of these people, I mean, they're trading like 10, 12, 15 times a day right now. And of course, the number one everybody looks up is Pelosi. And this is kind of strange, though. If you look here, that's why I knew she knew this was going to be coming out, and they were looking into this. Look at her last reporting date, July 23rd. She has not reported anything since, and it's kind of funny because her husband's the one that does the trading, and she reports it after she gives him the information of what to buy. I mean, you know, hypothetically, of course. But look at the Microsoft, Tesla, Disney, Apple, NVIDIA, all up huge, which is why she's the number one follow politician on her trades. I am one that looks into it every Monday, and we'll let you guys know what she buys, because those stocks alone she bought in 2021 are up enormously. You see where Apple's at right now? All-time new high. NVIDIA, there's a stat that just came out. Was it S&P returns over half the returns, over 50% of the returns in this year from only 5 stocks. She owns 3 of them right there on that list. I don't know what she bought in 2020. I can go back and show you. But she owns 3 of the 5. So you can imagine it's been a pretty good year, but it's kind of funny. Here, this little, you know, I can't say it was an investigation, but research was going on in the Congress, and there she hadn't reported anything since July. She just went very, very quiet all of a sudden. And so, you know, a lot of people like to follow her. Some people just base their portfolios off of her, even her. And if they've done that through 2020 and 2021, they've got killer returns, because she has been up there for 36 years in Congress. Chuck Schumer's been up there for almost, 25 years. You got Mitch McConnell, been up there for over 30 years. And so, you know, they got a lot of power, a lot of money. They didn't become millionaires off their salaries, okay? They became multi-millionaires. I'm talking about big time. They're worth a lot of money, all right, because of all the money they're getting from, you know, the interest groups, the lobbyists, everything else. And then, of course, when you get the money, you need to keep the money. So how do you go about doing that if you're a politician? You make sure the IRS doesn't audit you. Look at this drop-off from 2015 to 2020 in the audits of millionaires. I mean, that is insane. Look at that. It's down by over, what is that, 66% it's down by? And so it just shows you how smart they are, right? They figure out how to make the money, skirt the law, and then keep the money, or make sure they don't get audited. Isn't that an amazing thing? And so, hey, maybe one day we'll see changes. Probably not in my lifetime, maybe in my son's lifetime. And so that should answer the question to why politicians can never tell us the truth about Wall Street, why they can never regulate Wall Street, because they're owned by Wall Street. They're part of Wall Street, okay? And they're making a lot of money, and nobody's gonna hurt their pocketbook or take money out of their pocketbook to help the middle class and lower income people out in this country. I can promise you that, okay? Not when we only own 14% of stocks and stuff like that. So not gonna happen. But anyway, let me know your comments in the bottom, what you think about that. I always like to hear your opinion and stuff, and so hope you got some out of this. Hit the like, subscribe button if you did, guys. I really appreciate that, and I will see you guys tomorrow after the Fed speaks, and we'll see what happens after Jerome Powell, who has so much power right now, talks. Okay, have a good one, guys. Hit that link down there in the bottom. Sign up for a BlockFi account to earn 9% on your Stablecoins, 9.5% on your Tether, and 4 to 5% on your other cryptocurrency, as well as earn the 1.5% back on Bitcoin for every purchase you make on that credit card, guys. I will see you later.